Testing. Hello, hello. Well, I got the volume muted on both sides. Testing. Hello, hello. Okay, that seems to work. Let's get the mic a little closer. Excuse me. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Zeke here. And yeah, it's been over a month, I know. I have been dreading coming on, so I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and I need to stop. I really need to stop putting it off. So, yeah, Edge of the Empire. God, I don't want to say this. I'm sure plenty of you have probably figured something out. Maybe a lot of you are thinking, my channel's done. I'm stopped. Not true. I don't want to stop. I really do not. I want to keep going. But I know people are going to ask, what happened to Edge of the Empire? Why is it not going anymore? And the truth of the matter is, it was canceled. And, I was really enjoying it. I know there's actually a few people out there that are indeed enjoying it. I don't know how many of them are. I don't have too many followers, just 120 on YouTube, maybe 28 on Twitch. I'm not a known channel. But for those who, are following this, who are enjoying it, you guys do deserve an explanation. And what that explanation is this. If you guys watched the last one that I posted up, if you don't remember, jump on YouTube, Dark Zeke, same thing. I go over there mainly because, unlike Twitch, YouTube saves everything. And I like that. But Twitch seems to be, a more fun community. But I started on YouTube, might as well stay there. And, Restream lets me do that. So, hop over there. But back to the topic. I'm beating around the bush because I don't really... this is... Okay, so... the more experienced gamers are going to know the way I handled the last stream when Leo's sacrifice, even though it was made by Desric, and when Rose tried to destroy the Holocron, I didn't let the Holocron be destroyed, and technically Leo's death was, let's just say, pushed to the side. It's what it seemed like, and it's not entirely what I was planning, and really I didn't like how that turned out myself, but what can I do? I've made a very strong lore based around the Holocrons. Both Holocrons. They are the relics that I refer to. There were going to be more, but for as long as it was going, I didn't want it to go too much longer. So I dubbed it down to those two. That's kind of why there was, the lightsaber at the Sith Temple and then that scepter at the Fallen Jedi Temple, which is a lightsaber itself, but the Sith one looked more like sadistic torture device weapon, whereas the scepter, I guess you could say, is a bit more regal, a bit more... Oh, what is the term I'm looking for? Crap. You basically get it. It's more... less evil, more knowledgeable. Not knowledgeable. Basically, it's kind of what the Jedi stood for. Knowledge above all else. The word is escaping me right now. It'll pop into my head later on. It's kind of how it works. But the Holocrons themselves, the reason why they could not be destroyed is because they contained the soul, the Force soul, spirit, however you want to go with it, of its creator. And both of them are required for the end game. And the way I had done the lore, the reason why they couldn't be destroyed is because the Force itself, the Force is alive. If you have anybody who's played Knights of the Old Republic 2, I was using that heavily. I loved the lore on that. I loved how deep it was. And I made it to where the Force itself did not want these holocrons to be destroyed because the Force itself is trapping these spirits within the holocrons. And it needs the spirits to be, well, not necessarily destroyed, but to absorb them back into the Force. And it can't do that if the holocrons are dead. The vessel that's carrying them is destroyed, so I made that indestructible, basically. An immortal object, if you prefer. And I knew that ahead of time, but if I would have told them, that would have been straight up metagaming, plus it would have ruined the story, and I'm very, very big on story. I don't like to ruin it at all. So as much as it was killing me inside that this was in vain, and I knew it, I didn't know how to handle it. And it was the same with Rose when she stabbed it. Now they're finally finding out that it is an indestructible object. And this did not sit well with the players. Now, before we get any further, I classify the failure of this series onto myself. The players are not responsible at all. And I had a lot of time to reflect on this, obviously. Over a month. And to be honest, I still don't think I was wrong, per se. The way I view it was a different type of play style, and I've been going over this back and forth. I've asked some friends in real life who, my work buddies, they do play tabletop themselves, or at least at some point of time they've played tabletop. And I say they're half correct, and that is because they state, basically my players rage quit because they did not get what they wanted. Like I said, it is a half truth. They did not get what they wanted, but they did not rage quit. Instead, the way I see it is, because they didn't get what they wanted, because there was something there that did not go as they were expecting, as the way they believed should have happened, it no longer was fun. It was more frustrating than anything, and no one wants to play something frustrating. Unless, it's intended to be frustrating. But, yeah, that was pretty much how it is. And I went back to look, it's like, why? Why are they frustrated? Why am I frustrated? Why do they want me to change it? Why do I not want to change it? And I kept going back and forth. And if you watch a lot of videos on how to be a DM, a good DM, or GM, whichever you want to go, Dungeon Master, Game Master, same thing. And a lot of them will say to handle a player's death is to give them that epic death. That's something that makes their life, what they do, meaningful or impactful. And I agree. I really do. Yet at the same time, I see that as cliche, because everyone wants it, everyone expects it, it's become the norm. And I don't like doing the norm. I tend to stay away from cliches, stereotypes. I hate them. I really do. Which does frustrate people, because I will try to think as far outside the box as I can. And in this situation, like I said, I don't say I'm wrong, and I don't say they're wrong. Both are correct, but what was done incorrectly was the fact I did not understand what type of player and GM I am. And really, it's kind of a no-brainer. My channel name, I gave it the title Dark Zeke. And that was the hint. That's something that my players, my audience should get. But I'm thinking a lot of people, and sometimes even myself will do it. Dark is not a title. Dark is not a name. It is a symbol. It is symbolizing the way I see stories, the way I see adventure. I like it on the dark side. Just because the heroes win, can they really call it a win? And that's the way I see things. That's the way I plan things. And in this game, I really did want to get Leo a good death, a good sacrifice. I loved his character. Jonas was amazing on him. I am missing that so much. I really am. But I can understand needing to modify some things, to bend some things, to make certain things work, but I do not, and I never will agree with breaking things. And in this case, rules, story, specifically story. Story always trumps rules, in my eyes. I don't agree with breaking story to fit the needs of what's going on, because if you break the story or you break certain things, it's no longer the same story. It's no longer the same game or anything like that. And that's kind of how I was seeing it, as much as I hated, the outcome. And so I ran in the only way I could. And after looking back, like I said, I like the darker tones, the more bleak outlook and action. And I can make something out of it. Yes, it was a massive blow to the party if it would have continued that Leo was sacrificed in vain. And they were literally just about to learn that there was a soul in there. The Force is not letting it be destroyed because the Force wants to take that soul to the Force like it's supposed to. Something needs to be done. And until then, it can't be destroyed. That was actually about to happen. A conversation. What the names? Yeah, Solara No is about to temporarily possess the little girl, Sharon. Sharon obviously allows it because it is Solara No, just someone she really trusts. And it was about to be explained in that manner and whatnot. But it really didn't get to that. And that is a big unfortunate. And I still don't believe they would have liked it. But that is the type of player, the type of gamer, the storyteller I am. I want that darker conflict. And the way I saw it play out in my mind is Desert took a major blow. He's the one who sacrificed Leo, and it was in vain. He is going to be literally... It was a kick in the balls to him. He was down, and he had to make the decision to come back up. And how he would do that. Would he, keep being that hero, or will he finally just say, fuck it, let's get it done. I don't give a shit about anything anymore. It was a strong blow to him, and that's kind of what I wanted. It was a strong blow to everyone, but him particularly, it was the hardest blow. And then when when Tough rolled the dice and it came up to he doesn't betray the party, that was actually dice-based, but story-wise, it was one hell of a turning point for her. And when the lightsabers didn't destroy the object, at the same time, I saw that as another potential story arc. She pretty much, if she would have destroyed it, she would have been, a bit on the confused side. She wants the power. This thing was a way to power, and she just destroyed it. She pretty much just destroyed her dreams. How would that affect her? But if it didn't get destroyed like what happened, now she's going to be a little bit more confused. I was willing to destroy my dreams for this party, but something stopped me. Was I supposed to do it, or am I supposed to keep on the same path? It was that kind of mental struggle I envisioned hitting. That was about the only way I could think of to salvage it, but I was kind of alone on that one. Like I said, I don't blame them. The blame goes on me because this is my style, and I went into it without even realizing it, so I couldn't convey to the players, this is what I am. This is what I do. This is why I'm called the Dark Zeke. I will go for the dark and the bleak, and I will slam you with it from time to time. I will attack you mentally, both the player and the character. And unfortunately, one of the big videos that I had made, the audio did not record, so I couldn't upload it to the internet. And this was earlier, literally season 1. It was their first entry into the swamp, and it was crazy. Rose got the least, but it was less meant to mindfuck her like the rest, but more to confuse her. And I believe that worked. It even Tough was a bit confused. But the rest, they've got some pretty horrific visions. Maybe one day I will talk about it. Actually, I do intend to continue the story. Obviously, it's not going to be played, but if events would have continued, this is what would have happened, and even describe some of the things that happened in the background, the past episodes, particularly that one that went up and didn't get recorded right. That was annoying. It was so good too. But yeah, so the thing I learned: players, figure out what type of player you are, what do you expect of the story of the GM. GM, what type of player are you? What do you expect from your players, from yourself, from the story? Communicate this back and forth. If I would have came up and said, I like things bleak, just because your character is going to die doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a very meaningful death. I'm not going to try to block you from that. By all means, I'm not. But at the same time, I'm not going to break something just to give it to you. I'm going to try to bend it if I can, but ultimately it's up to the player to put themselves in that position. And in this case, while if the artifact was destructible, that would have been a setup for it, and it would have been brilliant. But because it was a nasty surprise that this artifact can't be destroyed, at least at that point in time, it was something they didn't see coming. And that's why it led to that. This wasn't me trying to be, a dick saying, no, you can't have this death you want. You have to have the death my way. Admittedly, a lot of this campaign was very railsy, even though I thought it wasn't as a rail game as I thought it was. But it did turn out far more roller coaster than I intended. And again, that's an experience. And I have nothing against my guys. Like I said, it's all my fault. I should have conveyed it. I'm not mad at them by any means. I'm not. Just so much to talk about. So much to... Well, this has gone on a little too long. And to be quite honest, there's not too much more I can meaningfully say. I can ramble on all I want, and that's pretty much what it's going to come to. But yeah, I want to hear everyone's thoughts, and I'm going to try to post this around, spread it around, because particularly against to other tabletop game players and GMs and whatnot, I want their opinions. Do they agree with me? Does every player need, or do they, suggest that every player needs to have that heroic death, or should the player work on it? I mean, obviously, if someone Leroy Jenkins straight into the thing, you die. That's your fault. But yeah, should the story be broken for the player? Should should you go by the direct set of the rules? I don't see the rules as the Holy Bible. If anything, I see it as guidelines. Star Trek, rule of acquisition. Don't remember the number. Never be afraid of the mislabeled product. The rules of acquisition would not have been sold very well if it was called the guidelines of acquisition. That shit. Basically, that's how I see the rule book. It is a guideline. Something to help create a story. And that's exactly how I treat it. With my inexperience, there's a lot of things, and it is gone throughout the series of news house rules popping up, blah 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 blah, all that stuff, and that I believe really frustrated the players a lot. It frustrated me because there was just so much I didn't know. It was all overwhelming. I jumped straight into the GM chair without ever playing before. I've never been a GM. I've never Hell, I've never even played as a player on the tabletop. I've played plenty of RPGs on the PC or consoles or something like that. Never that. So I've got a lot to learn still. And that's why I leave open, everything for discussion. I want to hear what you think. All that. Am I doing good? Do you think I should do done something better, or maybe my interpretation of something is wrong? Obviously, don't go with the house rules I set, because that is by per person basis. And yeah, that. The best way to do this is to jump on the YouTube channel, go down to this video, drop it in the comments saying what you think. You can either do it all the videos prior, or you can do it in this one. Better, better this one. Yeah, I want to know what you think. If you know some people who do play, player or GM, send it to them. I want to know what they think. The only way I'm ever going to get better is if I, hear what people say, the guidance. I want to get better. I want to GM some more, but I still want to. I still want to be a player, and I do need to be a player next before I GM again. But it's kind of my thing right now. So with this going down, I'm going to do some posting and changing titles. Then I'm going to pop up another stream. It'll be Kenshi this time. So if you're watching the stream right now, which I don't think anyone is, stay tuned. I'm going to pop that up. But thanks everyone so much for listening and sticking with the series all the way up till now. Sorry that it took so long to say this, but like I said, I was dreading it, and I didn't have anything planned on what I would say. I didn't even know my own thoughts on the matter and whatnot, but I pretty much got it now, and I owe it to you guys. You guys been watching me, you've been sticking with me. It's a small base, but I've enjoyed interacting with you guys, and I want to keep doing it. So, thanks so much for sticking with me, guys. See you next time.